All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Foundations of Business Management 1104. We're starting to finish up the session and semester or the session. And I wanted to lay out the expectations and sort of the overview of the business simulation. So this is an overview of the CAPSIM business simulation that you have hopefully trained for by now. You've done the training and the orientation, and now comes the learn by doing part of the course. So we're going to take everything that you have learned up to date, every module, operations, finance, marketing, project management, leadership, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And now we're going to deploy that into an experiential exercise and a capstone project for you for the semester. Let me share my screen so that we can get the walkthrough here, the crosswalk of CAPSIM and sort of the expectations. Before I get too far, and so hopefully most of you will be watching it at this point, is that this is very, very important that everyone in the learning team participates, okay? Everyone in the learning team participates. Now, typically with academic projects, a lot of times team members like to just kind of float away and let everyone else do the project. Keep in mind, that's not going to work with me. That does not fly with me at all. There are peer evaluations. I evaluate the peer evaluations. And if it is my understanding from your teammates that you chose not to participate at all, then you get a 0 on the for the grade. The team will get their grade, and then the teammate will get a 0 based on the feedback. And or certainly there's chances you might miss 1 or you might miss 2, and perhaps then it's 50% of the grade or 75% of the team grade. But the bottom line is you have to participate. Now, for this particular video, this is for the summer session. And I realize that many of you are working, you have internships, you have jobs, but you have 24 hours in a day to schedule 20, 30, 40 minutes. So there is no excuse that you cannot come together. And or you have your Canvas, people discussion, and you can have a discussion link, a discussion thread on decisions that have to be done. This, for the summer session, this is an opportunity from a virtual standpoint and learn how to work in a virtual job. So I don't want to, belabor the point, because I think everyone gets a commitment, right? We're all here. We all know what our commitment is, and we have to do it. So 90% of you are going to be all in. You're going to make it happen. You're going to learn from this, and we're going to go forward. I just know that there will be frustrations for those trying to get the horse to the water. We can't make the horse drink the water, right? From that standpoint. So really stay engaged in this. It is very, very important. So what is a business simulation? The goal here is that you're going to understand the functions of various departments. You're going to start to connect the dots, between marketing and sales and operations and bringing it all together. You're going to be able to understand the different factors that influence business decisions. There's going to be sometimes that you make a decision that you think is the best. It's based on the pro forma, but unfortunately, the market conditions change. We can't change market conditions. Inflation is high right now. Gas prices are high. Us as business leaders cannot do anything to impact that, right? We can only control what we can control as leaders. And so we have to understand that. Now, it is a compressed time. Every round equals a year. So you're going to have 2 practice rounds and then 3 live rounds. So your practice rounds will start on Monday. You'll have Monday and Tuesday as a practice round, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will be your live rounds. The goal, the other goal here is to learn by doing through a risk-free environment. Okay, it is risk-free. You're not actually losing money. You're not actually failing to deliver on time. These types of things are very, very important. So the learning objectives, you can see them here, is really a chance to analyze the company and competitor data. So you're going to get reports. There are 2 different reports that you have access to. Be sure that you're looking at those reports, okay? A chance to understand cross-functional collaboration. Very important to learn that now so that when you're in an internship or you're in a real life career, that you have that ability to sometimes step up and call people out in a very respectful but accountable situation. Other times it's a moment of gratitude, thanking everyone for what's going on and what's happening, and engaging in strategic decision making. This is an important piece. This is also a time for me to step back. I've been doing this simulation now for 3 years, I guess, or excuse me, 2 years, because we deployed this during the pandemic. So it feels like 3 years, feels like a lifetime, right? But we had to pivot from our traditional go sell a product in Blacksburg or the New River Valley. We had to pivot from that type of project to this business simulation. And we've had very good results from this. I will say this before we get too far. There is ambiguity here. There is uncertainty here. And that is part of the learning process, okay? There is not a playbook where you check the boxes, you do everything right, and you get a 100. That's not the way industry works. That's not the way the marketplace works. This is a competitive environment. There's a lot of things you don't know, and the only way to know them is to dig in and read reports, look at intelligence, take some risk, make some mistakes, fail fast, fail forward, pivot, get it done, okay? So I can tell you this, will you be frustrated? Absolutely. Will you probably use my name in vain or my name in with various expletives? Probably, okay? I get that. It is part of the learning process. This is the experiential learning process that you will go through. But know this, please know this, as you go through the journey and as you see the mistakes that perhaps you've made as a team, learn from those mistakes, step back and understand how you can make better decisions in the future. Understand that this decision caused this consequence, right? And so again, this is a chance to work together, learn about the different functions, try to, as best you can, get comfortable with being uncomfortable, understand ambiguity and uncertainty, and work together to solve it, okay? Spot surveys, sure, there's some negatives. I will say this, those are maybe 1 or 2%. Versus 98% of spot surveys say that this is a good project and that they enjoyed it. Okay, so here's the overview. You're going to be you're manufacturing and selling sensors, and sensors are needed in various products, automobiles, cell phones, and other other consumer products and business industrial products as well. 2 different segments, low tech, high tech. You understand this from the training you went through, okay? The history of your company. There were many sensor companies 15 years ago. There was a shakeout, okay? Great term, product life cycle, marketing, right? So there was a shakeout that occurred. And that happened because there was a consolidation in the marketplace. It forced a lot of competitors out. Some different value propositions started to come out based on patented technologies and service. And so that was then. Here is now. Unfortunately, there's been a loss in direction and strategic focus, so a chance for management and leadership. Lawsuits have been used to fend off competition, and then courts have been intervening to break up the company, okay? So there was a consolidation that happened, and now the government has stepped in and has broken this company up called Sensors Incorporated. So now you can see the various companies within the marketplace. There's up to 10 different companies. You're going to be in 2 different industries. So I think there's 4 to 5 different companies in each industry. $40 million in sales, 1 product line, and it's a closed marketplace. So Team 1 will be Andrews, learning team 2 will be Baldwin, learning team 3 will be Chester, and so on. Okay, I'll have those teams assigned by Friday of this week, and so you'll have that available. You'll see it on your dashboard when you log in, and you'll also see your competition dates as well. Now, the last management team did not leave the company in good shape. As a matter of fact, they left it in a very, very poor condition. Products do not meet the customer's buying criteria. You know the buying criteria. You have access to that data. The majority of the target market doesn't know your products exist. So you have to advertise, right? You got to get the marketing, the branding. Who are you? What are you about? What are the features and the benefits? So there's an advertising opportunity here. Manufacturing has too much capacity, too little automation. Opportunity here, right? So you're going to have people that you have to assign, but then you also have monies that you can spend on automation. Typically, automation brings down the cost, increases efficiency, should help with profitability. But with that being said, obviously automation costs. So be aware of that. Salesforce and the distribution channels have deteriorated, so you have to build that up. Misallocation of assets, and then there hasn't been really any financial policy or structure. I'm not going to get into the details here. You have access to this. The key point here is you have to have your product meet the market demand, right? And so the market has expectations. Know what the market expectations are and be able to deliver your product to meet these expectations. All right. Low-tech companies, or excuse me, low-tech customers, they really want their products to be cheap. They're not really looking for cutting-edge technology. They just want moderate reliability and just get them the product as quickly as possible. Again, price sensitive. High-tech customers probably not so interested on price sensitivity, okay? And they're really looking for high reliability. They have expensive products, so they have high expectations in the marketplace. Keep in mind that customers' expectations change over time, okay? So you can see here, this map on the right-hand side, you can see visually that over time, and think about your own buying pattern, okay? Our expectations of customer service increases. Our expectation of reliability increases. The same thing holds true when it comes to this type of product as well. So be sure that you are looking at this and making the correct modifications to get there, all right? Segment growth, low tech is growing at 10%, high tech at 20%. Something to understand. Now, low tech typically has higher volume, high tech, low volume, but higher price. So you have to understand which one that you're going to. So your new company, keep in mind, you've got 4 decision areas: R&D, marketing, production, and finance. Someone should probably be the CEO. Someone should make the final decisions, being sure that the final decisions are input by 11 p.m. To be there. So make sure that everyone has a responsibility. I also want a backup, right? So if Susan is the marketing person, I want a backup to that person. Maybe that's John. John's the production person. The backup might be Sarah, right? So there should be a primary and a secondary for every position. Why do we do that? We have to mitigate our risk. Someone's out sick. Someone's out for maternity or paternity leave. Who's going to make these decisions, right? So just like in industry, there has to be a primary and then a secondary. So understand that. I'm not going to go into each and every functional area here because you have access to this in your training. You also have access to this in this PowerPoint. Just keep in mind that everyone has to work together. You can see the roles and responsibilities. I will say this, I do not recommend launching a new product for the summer session. Now, in the spring and fall semesters of this course, I demand the class to do a new product. I do not recommend that teams do a new product introduction in this course. What I mean by that is you have one product, but I typically ask you to go launch a second product. For the summer session, do not launch a second product, okay? Don't recommend it. And the reason why that is it takes 1 year or longer for that second product to come into existence. You only have 3 rounds and it's just going to impact you. If we had a 4th round, I would say absolutely, we're going to definitely do that. But the R&D still has to determine, the current customer needs. So working with marketing and understanding the current customer needs and building that product so that it's there. Okay, it's important. And keep in mind that it may, even on your first product, it might take 6-9 months for that to be introduced in the marketplace. So new product again takes at least 1 year, requires new production capacity. All of that's important. Marketing, remember, sets the price for your products. The other aspects, keeping in mind that it also does the sales forecast. Sales forecast is incredibly important because that drives capacity. Production, understanding the sales forecast so that you can understand the production schedule, and then understands the capacity. Might have to buy or sell capacity on the production line. So if there's extra capacity, sell that capacity, all right? Finance, looking at obviously, the stock conditions, pricing, perhaps working again with production on automation and making sure that long-term debt, current debts are taken care of, all right? So how do I decide what numbers to input? So here's where the ambiguity and the uncertainty comes in, right? What do I know? How do I know it? And so this is Michael Porter's 5 forces. Remember that there's a chance for you to just step back, understand what the market is doing, understanding that decisions have consequences. And sometimes the essence of strategy is choosing what not to do, okay? So that was a direct quote from Michael Porter. So the key point here is follow your direction from the data that you have. Data helps us make decisions. And you have access to 2 different reports. You have access to what the customer's expectations are, and make good, sound estimates, okay? They are just that, they're estimates. And so in some cases, it may be right. In some cases, it may be wrong, depending on the market conditions, but then learn from that. That's why you're going to have two practice rounds. So to give you a chance to sort of see the intricacies of the market and the market demand. Porter also came up with various competitive strategies, right? So low cost and differentiator versus industry-wide and focus. So what does this mean? To find out what you want to be. Do you want to be a cost leader? Where you're going to have high demand, low price, but really churning out a lot of product? Or do you want to focus on differentiation and be a niche differentiator, meaning that you're going to meet the specific features and demands, which might mean high tech, so low volume, but higher price. And you just have to understand that, okay? All right, I'm going to finish up here. There's obviously understanding the competitive advantage we've talked about in the course already. That goes through the trainings as well. Executing your strategy better than others, which should be an all in, understanding operational effectiveness. So your capacity, automation, people, overhead, your sales forecast. These are all important things to think about as you go through that. You all had access to your training. And so you had about a little over an hour of your training. The other part is the help and support. So if you get stuck on anything related to technology of CAPSIM, you have the email 24 hours a day. You also have from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You have a support phone number. Students reach out to them on a consistent basis just to help them through if there is a technology situation. I can tell you we've only had maybe one or two quote unquote technology fumbles in what 100 courses that we've taught this in now. Typically, sometimes the support number though helps coach teams on decisions and why things may not be happening. I'll certainly be available through email, or we can schedule a Zoom call if we need to. I'll be giving you daily updates throughout throughout your simulations as well. But have fun and enjoy this. The other part from a grading standpoint, no team will score less than a 70. All right, no team will score less than a 70. That's the bottom foundation. So no one fails this assignment, and from a team aspect. Now, students can fail it because they don't work or because they're lazy. That's a separate subject. But no team can score less than a 70. There will be at least 2 teams that will score anywhere from 95 to 100 on this assignment, right? So there'll be at least 10 of you that score anywhere from a 95 to 100. The average score on this assignment is an 88, all right? So go ahead and take the anxiety away from the grading aspect of this. Dig in and understand the learning objectives and start to work with your team on decision making and looking at what those consequences or how those consequences are. Okay. Hopefully this helps. Good luck to everyone. I certainly want you to do well, and learning by doing. All right. Take care.